Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mark?
Here.
Erica? Here. Jeremy?
Here.
Mike?
Here.
MC?
Here.
JJ?
Here. Please stand and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for the day that you've given us today. God, you're always good to us, and we appreciate that. And we thank you so much. We can't give you enough glory and praise. We pray, Lord, that you be with each individual here, and that the business discussed and conducted here tonight is done in a manner that's appropriate to you, Lord. We ask you to forgive us where we sin. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Next item on the agenda is approval of tonight's minutes. Not minutes, tonight's agenda.
I would like to amend the agenda.
Do what?
I would like to amend the agenda.
Okay.
Can I add before number 1? It's okay with the rest of the council, Hillcrest and Brentwood drainage, so that the council can discuss it at that time.
Okay. Hillcrest and Brentwood drainage.
Is that okay if we put that as number 1?
Yeah, I'm going to put it down here as follow-ups. That's correctly ahead of number 1. So
In old business or follow-ups? Oh, that's fine.
yeah,
Perfect.
because I mean it's things that we've worked on before, so it is an opportunity to discuss it.
I think as well.
I'll just
What did you say?
he has an amendment as well. Okay, and what's your amendment?
I may defer to Justin on exactly how to phrase it. I'd like to add something to the agenda tonight to vote to move the council meetings back to 6 p.m. instead of 6:30 p.m.
Where will that go? Is that a 15?
I'm going to put it at the end. It's
15? Okay.
yeah. That's an amendment to the
Meeting ordinance.
meeting operational regs that we do it the first year every year. Any other amendments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve as amended. Got a motion by JJ, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeremy. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. And that did pass. Next item is the approval of the March 25th and April 8th minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve both? Motion by JJ, do I hear a second? Second by MC. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That's passed. Next item is the financial reports. Do I hear a motion to approve for the city financials February and March?
I think we're still having the same issue with the dues.
That I'm gonna address, but we gotta have it on the floor to be able to discuss.
You want to be on a table so you can discuss it?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make a motion, not to, okay, motion to approve, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mike, and the floor is open to discussion, and I did review that, and that is our dues for the, our regular annual dues for Northwest Arkansas. regional planning, but instead of a couple $1,000, it's $54.95. And that is $1 per, official resident. It's based on your population, and that should have been in the general fund. So we will be, I mean, it is in the general fund when it's in planning, but it wasn't set aside under planning, it was budgeted for under administration, because they do, or admin, because they do a whole lot more than just planning. They do, they work with us on the census, they work with us on streets, and they work with us on transportation with other forms like buses and bike trails, and they also do, they are involved in a lot of things beyond planning. So that's why it was budgeted in the general fund. Under the admin. Yeah. It was almost it's $5,500. So that would put us back in the appropriate range. Any further questions on that?
Council, I have a question to ask. In March, you approved our February financials, and you're going before the council again to be approved again tonight.
That is on the table.
Alderman Williams made a motion to approve the February 2025 city financials. Alderman Cobb seconded the motion. Motion passed 5-0.
He asked about this particular issue and they moved to table and we tabled
Okay, then you need to,
it. Amend that agenda.
no, you need to, table your March minutes then, because you just approved March minutes with that in it.
It was tabled by me, approved on March 25th.
So if you can go back and request.
We can go back to that March minutes once we finish the. Good one. Yeah, that's something you just approved. They were here.
I've got
April 8th and March 25th should be right together. So if you don't, I can get you another set of them.
okay, I do that.
So if there's no further discussion, all in favor of approving the financials, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Those are approved. Now, based on the information we just got, do I hear a motion to table the March 25th, or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the March 25th minutes.
So don't we have to unvote?
No, you don't unvote, you just vote. Don't you just vote to table?
We could go back and find out who made the motion in a second and have that person, forgot the actual.
Rescind.
motion. Yeah, but
Let's do this simple.
Wait, wouldn't it be simpler just to amend that one item within the minutes to show that it was
good.
tabled?
You could have a motion to, put the minutes back on the table and to amend that item to show that those minutes were actually tabled.
Okay, do I hear a motion to do that?
Yes.
Okay, got a motion by JJ, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by MC to reopen the March minutes and amend to show that the city financials were tabled. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And that is approved. Next item is the, actually I misprinted that, it's the March water and sewer financials. Do I hear a motion to approve March water and sewer? Got a motion by MC, do I hear a second? Second by JJ, any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. That is approved. Next item is the March Fire Department report.
I really don't have any. I'm down one person right now, one full-time person, so me and Tony, Chief Ryan, are picking up the slack on doing the cover, making sure we have 2 people down there at all times, so we'll be working 24 hours on that particular shift. And we'll be looking to hire one more here before long, as soon as I get it posted. I'll probably post it tomorrow. Building is same as normal. I've talked to Justin's partner this week. She's doing some other stuff with it, so.
Where are we at on the roof?
Same,
Into the shower?
same.
She picked up information today to pursue the actions of the contractor.
So,
Let's get rid of
so, other than that, I think I sent Justin some information on to get rid of some assets. I don't think it's on the agenda today. That's no longer used by our department. And we're either gonna trash it or donate it to other volunteer departments so they can use the equipment. I don't know if we need to get that approved through the city or what the plan is for that.
Yeah, I can't remember what day, it was like Friday, I think, it's like, I don't have it prepared for this agenda, but I
Okay.
have it ready for work session.
Okay,
That's what it is, okay.
that's fine. I just wanted to get, they were asking me the other day, I just wanted to get some answer, but it's no big deal. Any other questions?
Thank you. Next is the police department report.
As of 3 o'clock today, we're 1 guy short. So we were full staff for about a week and a half. So we're on the look for another police officer. Other than that, it's business as usual. Everything's going pretty smooth. You know, I hear a lot about traffic and a lot about speeders in everybody's neighborhood, and we're going to do the best we can to hit some of these hot spots. But I'm getting inundated with different subdivisions and different neighborhoods with speeders. We can only do what we can do, but we will address that and take care of that one at a time or a couple at a time. But we're on top of that. But other than that, do you guys have any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Next item is the planning report.
Good evening. Planning Commission met last night. You've got the items that were on the agenda. We ended up adding an additional item to it that was the anyways, sorry, slipping mine. But the Scissortail subdivision is still moving along. We're working on comments from RWU, Rogers Water. We're going to try and meet with them this week to look at their comments, getting that back with our engineers. And then we had Juliet up looking at revisions to the master street plan and future land use, active transportation, things like that. The last item that was added was the UNRRA minor subdivision. That was something that had been tabled previously. They had some items to address and look into. They brought it back, and that is moving forward also. You know, the only other thing that we have is the R&D family investments rezoning that's coming before y'all tonight. So if you have any specific questions on that, I'll be glad to get up and discuss that at that point in time. You should have the staff report in front of you. As far as what they're requesting, we talked about it last time. They're going to go from R1 to R2. R1's 1 acre lots, R2's 2 acre lots. So that is all we have at this point, unless y'all have any other specific questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is March Water and Sewer Department.
Well, water loss went up last month, and I think we figured out we haven't figured out what it was. He worked on it hard. I'm gonna let him explain what happened, so, well,
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you have the water loss and the open work orders with you. So just to give some context, we met at the Water and Sewer Committee meeting on 2 Mondays ago, so the 14th. The Monday of the 14th, we had 4 open work orders, and 2 of them were it's the same thing. The water main replacement, we're waiting on contractor availability, Hyde Park air release valves, and the service line abandonment. And so, as far as operational wise, you can't fix leaks unless you have leaks that you know where to fix. And so I went back through the McKim Creed report that we did last year and checked on all those leak cards. There were 55 plus the 12 on the customer in connections. And out of those 55, there were 12 that were re-leaking. We had replaced the service line, but they were now leaking at the water setter. The setter is the portion that's in the meter box that actually holds the meter. And when we went to replace those, 12 out of 12 all had the same weak point, which were the gaskets. So I don't know when it was. I think it was a year or 2 ago. We used to use the gaskets that came with the setters. And the gaskets were these thick, red, waxy gaskets, and they worked really well on high pressure systems. But at some point, I think it was like a year or 2 ago, from what I've heard, they started sending these fibrous, thinner, white gaskets, and those do well on low pressure systems, but when you clamp them down real tight, what can happen is that waxy seal can break and actually absorb water, and then that expands and can wiggle free. And so out of the 12 that we found for the McKim Creed report, that was what was happening 100% of the time. And so the plan of action was just to go through subdivision by subdivision and start checking meter boxes. And so we went through Allen's Mill and the Hamptons, and we found 4 leaks, or 3 in Allen's Mill, 4 in the Hamptons. And so that's our plan of action right now, is really just to go through the whole city and replace those gaskets that are giving out.
and you can see at the bottom of the report, those are all leaks that's been fixed.
All but one.
Well, they've been taken care of, right?
All but one on the right side. Those have all been fixed except,
Yeah.
yes.
One other thing that I think I have a question is those gaskets. You said they're having the low pressure system, right?
Well, they work on low pressure systems, but when you get to pressures as high as ours, they
What
are
is the
failing.
low pressure system? I'll give you an example.
I would say 80 or lower, 100 or lower.
What is our system?
Well, it ranges, but I think down by the golf course, it's upwards of 200 PSI.
So is there something we can do about that?
Well, that's something that Daniel and I have discussed. We're working on potential remedies for it. There are measures you can implement, like PRVs, or pressure relief valves, and air release valves if there's air in the system. But that's something that water study would help clarify.
So you and Daniel are,
What's that?
so you guys are working on that to see.
Yes.
I
Well,
have a question too. First off, thank you. It's like probably the best, most technical explanation for like a real problem that we can fix that I've heard since I've been on the council for this problem. So really, really appreciate you, and I know that this all predates you. What I'm curious about is you use the phrasing that's like they started sending these other gaskets. Like what, as far as you can tell, what happened there? Did we start ordering the wrong gaskets? Did
No.
they start sending them for something? Like what happened there?
so from what I've been told, the manufacturer just changed their supplier of gaskets, likely to cut costs. And then we were using those, I don't know how long, but we've since switched back to the red waxy gaskets for all new installs. We're no longer using those white ones.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Daniel, do you think the system pressure has anything to do, not inside the gasket, to the other pipes and affecting because it had busted line, but
yes, it could have some impact on the system. But one of the things that you'll have coming before you next month is a proposal to do a water master plan for the system that's going to look at the hydraulics of the system in its entirety, and where the high pressures are, and what we can do and how we can plan for that in the future. So not only do we need to think about what's going on today, is what's the future build out look like with the water power, and how those pressures impact flows, the fire flow, et cetera, as we build out.
Yeah, because I remember about 2-3 years ago, we discussed something about that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for working on it. Thank you.
And just some clarification, when you see these spikes, typically, you know, when you have a bunch of leaks, the pressure's lower, obviously, but then when you fix them, the pressure rises, and then the next weak point breaks. And so that's probably what we're going to see until we get to the underlying cause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next item is the engineer's report.
A few things to cover today. I'll kind of go back and hit a couple items in the water and sewer report. First one we'll talk about is the NACA sewer line update. That project continues over completion is within sight. I know we've been fighting those other problems early on in the project. I think we've got that under control. We have the supplier to come out and commission the other control unit is still on schedule over this March 6th. So it's May 6th, I'm sorry. May 6th. And then once we get that taken care of, some final cleanup, we should be ready to finalize this contract and get the contractor out. Highway 112 realignments, we're still working on each of those. And probably a follow-up we'll need to do is on the wastewater plants. We have to decommission each of those wastewater plants. We have a plan submitted to AEQ for their review and approval. Anticipate approval on that at any point. And what that generally is going to mean is we have to pump out the waste and sludge from each of those units before we can transfer title to the agreement we have with the Creeks golf course. And then lastly, on the water and sewer side, we have a water service area that we're currently trying to tie down and expand based on the development that we're seeing out on Highway 264 west of here. We provided those to our neighboring communities. Springdale Water Utility is happy with what we have proposed. Bentonville is actually running it through their committee as well as the council. Once we get a general nod from there, we'll submit it to the Department of Agriculture, have a public meeting, and we'll get those boundaries set. The signal light, I know, for my information here, we did get some information back from the contractor. It looks like late June, late July, we should receive most of the equipment been ordered. We're just waiting on it to arrive and we can get it installed. So I think as I told you before, probably late summer, late summertime frame is what we're scheduled.
Now, we work on easement acquisition with that.
Cassie if she has not reached out to anyone, she should be reaching out very soon. Has she reached out to you guys yet? Okay, it's on her list. Any questions?
I was wondering, I saw a comment on our Facebook page. Can you please clarify for the public the step system and what we're actually going to? Just a quick synopsis, because they're like, no, we have septic tanks and they don't, I don't think some people understand what we're doing and how we're going over to that. Can you just quickly clarify?
All subdivisions prior to the installation, I guess the construction of Allen's Mill that have sewer, keep in mind, your city in its entirety do not all have public sewer at their locations. They have what they call a non-traditional type of sewer, which is a step system, which requires a septic tank at the home with a pump in there that pressurizes that partially treated effluent from the home into a pressurized line, then down to a lift station at Otter Creek, and then it's pumped to one of two plants that exist right there in the vicinity of the Creeks golf course. From there, it was treated a second time and then dispersed in drip field lines under the golf course at that location. The NACA project that we currently have will not change anything associated with the way the collection system currently works. All it does is intercept the wastewater that is flowing to one of those two plants, or both of those plants, puts it in a lift station, and then lifts that wastewater and pumps it to NACA for final treatment to NACA. So basically, all the city is doing is getting out of the treatment business. You're just conveying the wastewater back. So again, nothing is changing at the homes. In the future, what we've done with newer subdivisions, we have required them for our spec to put in what we would call a traditional sewer system that would be a gravity low main in the streets that would allow your home to connect by gravity without a septic tank to those systems. They would then flow to a centralized area and tank, which would be a large septic tank, which is then pumped into our system and then conveyed to our NACA lift station over there. So all new subdivisions starting Allensville afterwards will have that type of traditional sewer in it, but still will be treated in the manner which we treated it up until this point. Now, as we continue to grow, that does allow you to expand your system in the traditional roles as you extend sewers up these natural valleys, gravity sewers, and you won't have to pump and treat it like we've done in the past. I hope that answers.
That's great, because I just saw a comment that you did that. Thank you for that last minute question.
Anything else? Thank you. Next item is attorney's report.
Well, good evening. We have one agenda, so I'll be brief. The last meeting had a lengthy discussion about a number of concerning bills that were before the legislature. Just about all of them that were on the concerning side did not make it. Just wanted to have a little follow up there. Basically, within a day or two, all of the ones we had kind of significant concern with the county sales tax. We were planning bills that would affect the city's planning power were voted down as one way or another. So let me will follow up on that because I know we had a discussion about it. I guess the other item, this is coming up at the next CAL meeting. We're going to have, we'll have for you a proposed lease for the coffee house. It will be a lease form. We'll need to talk about that if you want to do that for your lease building and the terms. So that one will be coming forward at the next work session. Any questions for me?
Thank you. Next item is clerk treasurer's report.
Steve had asked me last month about the coffee shop's insurance. I received that today, so it's good for the following April, that's 2026. So we're good on the insurance for the coffee shop. I want to let the council know that 2 months ago we paid the police cars off with a loan that we have at First Security Bank. So we received the titles for those police cars. We also paid the note off for the fire department pagers that we had on that note as well. So that one has been paid off. We're about a month and a half out on paying the fire truck for KS State Bank. So those 3 bonds are almost free and clear. So I want to let the council know that. I think that's all I pretty much had on giving you a heads up. But I did want to go ahead and close that account that we discussed and approved the last council meeting that we had for the fire department capital improvement. I went ahead and closed that account out. You'll see on the bank statement that there's like 35 cents that they rolled from that account over into the general fund. So there's a miscellaneous revenue of 35 cents. So that's where that came from.
Thank you. Thank you. Next item is the mayor's report. State legislature completed their regular session of the 95th General Assembly last week. This year's session was very troubling for cities and counties across Arkansas. We saw a series of bills that would have greatly limited property owners' rights and would have created a non-compatible uses in such close proximity as to create significant problems that would linger for decades. This was done in the name of affordable housing, while there was sundry different opinions on the cost. One bill would have allowed developers to determine the highest use for a property without zoning consideration. Compatibility or impact on neighboring properties would not be considered. No public hearing would be conducted, and a public opinion would not be heard. Covenants could protect guidelines within a subdivision through the expense and time commitment of a lawsuit. Another bill would have eliminated all single-family residential zoning and let the landowner add multifamily or tiny homes on wheels on any lot where they could fit it in. This too would allow covenants to protect the guidelines in a subdivision at the expense of time and commitment to lawsuit. Building permits would have been eliminated by another bill, and building inspections would have been reduced to one inspection at the time of final approval at the end of the bill. These changes would have reduced quality and produced a substandard product that would likely be non-compliant with the city and state codes. I was recently on a legislator's telephone town hall meeting where he discussed that these were all actions meant to address the affordable housing crisis. He claimed that regulation, what I would call meeting minimum state quality standards, adds up to 25% of the price of a house. He said that zoning bills were necessary because of city officials' denials of residential compliant zoning based on density. In this year's General Assembly, the bills that were meant to promote affordable housing would reduce property and production costs through elimination of city safety, regulatory, and organizational authority. They were meant to make affordable housing available through these reduced costs. I am concerned that it would probably work not because of the limited savings, but through reduced property values when substandard housing is with questionable safety precautions are placed next to development that is non-compatible with residential use. Property values will fall. Currently, the affordable housing crisis is a focal point for the state legislature, and it had better be for cities as well. Otherwise, we will see our citizens planning regulatory protections eliminated. Because of this, I plan to host an affordable housing conference in August. I will invite legislators, mayors, county judges, the Municipal League, and Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning, developers, and organizations that work with affordable housing initiatives. To clarify, this is not a meeting to find solutions, but it will be to develop a comprehensive and understanding of the problem. Legislators, counties, cities, and developers may all cite the need for affordable housing, but they all see different obstacles. While everyone points fingers in different directions, nothing is being solved. To solve the affordable housing crisis, the first step is to determine the actual cost that everyone can agree on. Only then can we all get everyone working together on a solution that can solve this problem without eliminating safety and quality for the residents. Thank you. Next item is public comments. Do we have anyone interested in giving public comments? If not, we'll move on to the follow-up. We just had the engineer follow up on traffic lights, and he addressed the lift station as well. I know Justin and Will are working on the SOPs. Do y'all have any update on them?
I'd say I'm about 70% done with them. I'm
Next item is the Hillcrest and Ridgewood drainage. And I can address where the city is on this time. Sure.
I attended a planning commission meeting, and I specifically remember the planning commissioner saying that the final plat would not be passed or would not go through pending the water problem was mitigated. So I've been trying to understand how the final plat went through, because it was clearly stated by the commissioners that they agreed that it wasn't going to be going forward and passing until all the water issues were rectified. And clearly they were not. So if you could explain that as well.
Okay. I will say that they approved, the planning commission approved the final plat with the contingency that we had a punch list of, like, how many items was it, 4 or 5 that were supposed to be met before it could be completed administratively and signed off on.
Yes. And there was punch list items and engineers, and everyone, sorry, still trying to blast. The punch list items, were numerous on, various different things, besides just the water runoff and stuff like that. I mean, as far as it being signed off on, there's processes that go forward as far as them, reviewing it, our engineers reviewing it, site observation, they met all the requirements to have their final plat signed off on.
That is
As far as the items that's happened this weekend, with the large rains and everything, there are other items that failed as far as silt fence and things like that. And there are contractors that are on there working now that have nothing to do necessarily with the contractor that built the subdivision. So to even get the electrical company to come out and do the electrical contracting work, to even get the gas company to come out and do the work that the gas company has to do, they have to have the final plat. They will not show up until the final plat is done. So they have come out, there's stuff that they've disturbed, stuff that they've dug up, and that's where some of the also additional like sediment, erosion, water runoff and stuff has come from.
This rain event wasn't huge. It was nowhere near 100-year event that we experienced a while ago. This rain, it rained heavy and it rained hard, but the amount of water that crossed over, no fence would hold back, whether it failed or not. And so as a city, the fact that it was, and I sat there, it was contingent upon water control. I heard it, I was here, and I would love to see the notes or the minutes from that meeting. But the fact that we approved that as somebody signed off on it, I didn't think the planning commission did, because they clearly said pending the water issues that were fixed. So I'm really disappointed that that final plat was approved. I understand there's other aspects of it, but how can we approve as a city? How do you approve something when clearly there are major issues? That was my one question, but it's approved, so now we just even it around.
Well, in regard to making it right, I have our Public Works Director, myself, I've toured it first, and then Public Works Director and our engineering firm have been out there. They are working together with my understanding, with the developer. And would you like to address further what else is going to be happening?
Yes, one of the things that in our findings when we were out there, we'd like to categorize this as what we call MS4 violation. The contractor or developer, whoever's working on a project, has to, they are required to maintain the silt and the erosion within their site. That means they have to install and maintain all of their erosion control measures before, during, and after each rainfall event. What we are seeing, what it appears is going on, is they're actually adding some additional fill. I'm going to try to picture this, or help create a picture of this for you guys. There's 4 homes that border the north side of this new subdivision that are experiencing the water runoff. Now, all along, the water has run to the north to those individuals' homes. When the final product is complete, based on the design drawings, half of those lots will actually flow back to the south, into the street, into the stormwater that was installed, public stormwater that was installed. That being said, that's a complete project and we're in construction. They still have to, they're still required to make sure that they do not allow any of that silt or runoff to go back, or I should say runoff, that silt to run to the neighboring properties. That's what we're after them at this point. So we're looking, we have alerted them that we've evaluated it. We're looking for solutions. And we're also trying to evaluate what do we have in our toolbox, if you will, to take care of that and ensure that this does get taken care of, not only immediately, but as this continues to be developed throughout the process. The 2 things that have happened. One is that there it should, we do have a lot of mud that is washed out in the road. First off, it should not have been in the road, but it was actually captured appropriately, because it was not allowed to get in your storm system and silt up your existing stormwater utility. There is a lot of silt that has made its way into the ponds. That's unacceptable, because the more you fill those ponds in, that reduces the amount of volume you can retain and allows it to function properly. So several of those pipes are half full of silt, if you've seen some of those photographs at this time. That will all have to be mitigated. So we're currently in the process right now of working with the landowner on the mitigation strategies and to determine the process of how we're going to move forward and make sure that this happens. That's a conversation we have with Justin as well, to see what avenues we have legally for the process.
So what about the silt and runoff that's already gone into this pond or in on streets?
That has to be cleaned up.
Along for nine as well.
That has to be cleaned up.
Or,
By then.
I feel that, oh, go ahead, sorry, Mike.
so my understanding is they were supposed to be preventing this as they were doing the construction.
That's correct.
Right. And they failed to do that.
That's correct.
So is there some kind of penalty or something we give them in some way because they failed to follow what they were supposed to do? And are they going to get that silt out of that pond?
And also, they haven't done anything with that today. They have been back there digging. They have not touched that street. They have, and if you look up the hill into that subdivision, there's multiple places you can see that red rock and junk all the way down at the other end of the street in that cul-de-sac. They have done nothing today, but yet they're there. I think we should cite them and pull their permits, because this is enough.
Well, I think that's where we're at this point. We need to get with Justin and see what opportunities we have to enforce this.
And to answer Mike's question, there are fines that are associated with NS4 violations. That's happened. We've fined folks in the past. I can't remember the last one. It's been a few years, but at least that I'm aware of. But yeah, there are penalties and fines that are attached with that.
Is that something we're going to do?
Yes, we will be, I'm working through our appropriate channels for the MS4, and there's also CARS violations that apply as well. So I've been discussing with Daniel, Justin, and Will the path forward and what has happened. And this is something we're actively pursuing.
Sounds to me they ought to have a stop order until they get all this resolved.
Agreed.
Especially involving the cars.
They've been notified today.
Yes, there was this afternoon.
Well, they've been notified that they need to take corrective actions. We need to further that. If they do not take any corrective actions, I think that's the point that justifies us to.
Is there a certain timeline they have after the issuance of that, or so we go?
They clearly don't care. They were notified and they went out there. You went out there this morning with them. They don't take us seriously. We've talked about drainage from day one. I've talked to 2 residents. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here for public comments. So I'm advocating for the residents. Who's responsible for the damages incurred on their properties? They need to be held liable for that. They need to fix it to resident standards. And also, I know 3 of the homes have retaining walls. I'm not sure about that 4th up the hill, but those retaining walls weren't meant for this capacity of water to come through. Yes, they've always had water, but one particular resident, as you know, has done a very good way of converting. People have put in French drains. All of their systems for the water that they're supposed to get on their property have failed. And so, is there something that we can do so that, this is not on the residents to fix this.
No.
This is enough. And I feel that we need to work swift and fast, I feel. Is there something we need to vote on as a council? Or Mayor, can you take care of that with Justin? But I think we've given, they've showed this morning till now, leaving the development, there was nothing cleared off of those streets. So that shows you their attitude.
So, we talked a lot about what we need to do now. My point is, why did it happen? What was it going to do to prevent it from happening again? Because we have talked about this before, during construction, inspection, the inspector going there, monitoring it, making sure that, stormwater management is something about. Did they really go through all that and nobody's been checking on them?
Now, we've actually been working with, been on after that ever run call. There's been some challenge with this project since the start, since the beginning. And I think Eric can back that up as well. So we require them to go out, clean routinely. It typically has not been a quick manner whenever they did it. They've been going out and taking care of it.
It's like you get in court and you have a repeat offender there. Do you just keep letting them repeat? Or do you say, this is it, and stop, and issue a stop work order and kill it?
Can we stop the work? Can we stop the work if they're violating it and you go there? Whoever goes there to inspect and see they're not following the guidelines and say, hey, stop. You fix that. I guess that's one question we just want.
It could be part of the remedy. We can find, we can seek permission. And, an injunction is not an easy thing to get. And, but if they're in violation, of our drainage criteria, which is under the NEP, then we can look at revoking the permit or suspending the permit or doing something with the permit. There would be process rights that we have to take into account. With that, give an opportunity to be heard and things like that. That is part of the thing that we can do. But it is 4 violations. It's pretty steep. It's a daily violation. So it's very extensive.
So how long ago has that happened?
Well, I'm not sure exactly. I know this weekend I got notification about this one. First thing this morning, I was out there and I was on the phone I was talking to Will early. I was on the phone with the engineers fairly early. We were moving forward with remedy quickly. But part of the issue too, when you start doing stop work orders, is the fact that the people that are responsible for it were the developers. The people that are now working in there are builders that are sometimes completely different companies that aren't the people that were responsible for so you've got to be careful who you're stopping work on, because they may be doing the right things around the lot they're responsible for, but not the subdivision as a whole, because that's not there. So that's why it's important that we do it through our legal channels and through our engineers to be sure that we're handling it appropriately and going through that due process.
Yeah, due process is okay, and I agree with it. However, I think the due process, you just were notified this week. That's what you said.
Yeah, on this.
Yes. But how long ago did this happen really until you found out about it? And that's what I want to close that gap up and speed things up so we can start reacting quickly, not waiting until somebody tells somebody, then you find out, then you get hold of somebody, and then.
That's too late.
And see, they have had this since at another rating event, they were out there cleaning it up prior. If you go to the detention pond in Brentwood, there's mud and muck that has always been there. And I mean, they would go through the barrier, they took down the barriers, and when the barriers were supposed to be up, and they were clearly stated it. And Mayor, you say it's not fair to shut down different entities, but it's not fair for our residents to be experiencing what they're experiencing. I am here for the residents, and this, what is not fair is what is happening to them.
I'm not saying it's not fair, I'm saying it may not be legal. Yeah. And there's.
Okay, you didn't say that, though, you said it's not fair to shut down.
Well, and it's, the two go together in a lot of cases.
I guess I disagree. I just didn't like the wording, it's not fair. Well, it's not fair that this is happening to the residents. But I understand what you're saying now that you've said that about a legality matter. But also, what do we do as a city, Justin, to ensure that these homeowners are, can we have them, the builder like sign an affidavit with the homeowners? Because they shouldn't have to pay for all this damage.
Well, homeowners, they have a civil claim against them. I mean, you have a property owner who is, and Eric, I can see you roll your eyes.
Well, no, I'm just like, it's just heartbreaking because we talked about this.
Eric, I'm not saying that I'm not throwing this on the homeowner and saying this is the homeowner's obligation and I'll go file some lawsuit. No, I'm saying that is always available to any property owner. If your neighboring property owner has changed the water path or is dumping silt onto your land, that's trespass. So you have a civil cause of action. Through MS4, we have a judicial remedy, right? You can cite them for it. It's in terms of a criminal citation, they can handle in this report and it goes from there. So it's quickly getting into something that's going to be before the court. That is a citation. And part of that process, when you're in that world of restitution, is trying to fix or remediate what you've done. And certainly if they've caused silt or debris or whatever is going on to people's yards, that'll be a part of it.
Okay, so that'll be a part of that.
And I don't know all that information. I'm hearing some of that. I've had a few conversations, and to the extent that we could get that remedy, that we'll go for it and try. But the landowners have property rights to be protected too as well, and that's what I want to point that out.
There are two things we need to look at on this. Number one is we've got rain coming toward the end of the week. We need them to move to get this taken care of so it doesn't happen again. And then we've got to figure out how we're going to take care of the other neighborhoods that affect us.
No, I just want to jump in and say, it's like, I think everybody's frustration here is very understandable. Eric, I think the frustration is very understandable. I do think some of these problems are technical problems more than they are policy problems. I don't know, when I listen to a lot of this, I'm not exactly sure what we as a council can do in terms of passing a resolution or ordinance to make it rain for you. I think this is a technical problem. It does sound like the people that we are outsourcing that to, like Daniel and Will, they're aware of it and they are working on it. And I think, we want to do what we can to try to keep, whoever's doing private development in the city within the bounds, but I think we want to make sure that we're doing it, in a legal way. We can't just start getting permits and stuff like that. So to an extent, I want the citizens to know, hey, we hear you, we're listening, and we're trying to get something done. But at the end of the day, these are problems that, we're not civil engineers, so we probably can't solve it. And so, to me, this is more being a technical problem than a policy problem. If there are policy measures that we need to take, then really I wouldn't know even which way to go on that. And I would, again, still have to rely on Daniel and on Will and on David, frankly. And so, I just want the citizens to know, the problem-solving mechanisms that we have are in play. We're one of the fastest growing areas in the state, one of the fastest growing cities of the United States, and proportionally, and there are going to be things that have to be tightened up along the way. We've got to keep a tight eye on it. But more importantly, I think we need to make sure that we're hiring good professionals like Daniel and Justin to make sure that we're going about it the right way. I feel confident after hearing from them, that it's under control, and it's not something that Daniel would just be blowing this problem off, and Justin would not be worried about it if we weren't, relaying it to them. I think they're already working on it. So I guess I want people to know that. I do think that they're trying to work on it, but I appreciate you guys for that.
Well, like I said to Daniel, I will ask questions here so that residents know. And then I appreciate you guys as always, but sooner rather than later because of more rain.
I do think I don't disagree with civil authority illegal, but I do think operational wise we need to tighten this to make sure we close that gap between information from and there. I just, in my opinion, I think we're letting things go a little bit, we move it slow. That's my opinion.
My concern is, if they've had problems before, how many times do we give them a chance to fix it before something happens? Apparently, this guy's had problems before. We just, okay, fix this, okay, fix this. At some point, we have to draw lines at one more.
Well, they are different problems as far as, it's different ones that happen. So, this problem is not the same one that we've had before as far as, with the ponds filling up and stuff like that. Now, I don't discount what you said.
I understand. But if there's continually other problems, something's wrong here.
But as far as timeline goes, MC, as soon as we heard about it yesterday, I think Will was out there actually cleaning the street for part of it yesterday, before the planning meeting yesterday. I went out there, walked it, looked around, got pictures. We set up a time to meet out there first thing this morning. We met out there at 8:30. Multiple, city staff plus McClelland, talked with residents, had a good conversation with them, looked at all the, different levels, because again, there's problems with the residents and the water that they, had on their property. There's still, there was problems with the pond got clogged up, and then it got sediment too in it. So it is as Daniel says, a MS4, like SWIP violation in multiple areas of that. Some of it has to do with, failing product as far as potentially silt fence. Some of it has to do with the additional contractors that are out there as far as the power company and the gas company. And some of it and so a lot of it just has to do with timing and unfortunate weather. So we tried to get out there and start this process and get it mitigated as fast as we can. And really the fastest way to get it mitigated is to get the people that are there working involved. Otherwise, and again, why are we trying to get it done is because there's future rain, and that's what we talked about with the resident that was there today. It's like, we've got more rain coming. It's like, yes, we do, and we need to at least try and figure out, if nothing else, some temporary measures to divert the water off of them. So that's really where we're at, is trying to get the contractor involved, because they're going to be the ones that can get out there and get some of this solved the fastest.
You said something, I do not, as a council member, agree for our public works to be going and cleaning up what they should be cleaning up. You said what was other second streets or some of the streets, Sweden streets?
I think it was cleaning something, and I don't know, I wasn't there. We had to cross paths at different times.
So. That, not the city of Cape.
And we agree. But at the same time, when there's an issue and it's like, we can try to solve some of this now and get it taken care of, that's what we're going to do.
And prevent further damage, I would say, like that line, and a little helping with the problem about $100, that $156 to the city to do it. So,
I mean, that makes sense, but
I completely agree with you. I do. And we don't necessarily, that isn't typical job duties, but it's something that needs to be done, and it's going to get done.
I have a question with Justin. That's just my own information access. So I want my land, I start digging whatever I want built alone. Would the city have the right to put a stop on it and say, stop work or not?
If you're in violation of a permit, yes.
Well, if I don't get even a permit,
yes.
Even if I have a permit and I don't follow violation of permit.
Right.
So what's the difference between these people that they're violating the permit and you're saying that?
It might not be. It might not be. But I can't can't say definitively right now, but
No,
I can say stop the permit, but that is an option that's there if, the code is not, if the drainage criteria manual is not being adhered to. And it sounds like.
I'm saying that you have to go to court with a junction and stop me from doing what I'm doing, or can you come in and put a note that say, hey, stop work until you get it?
I guess I can put a stop, I can pull the permit, or I can suspend the permit. One, if I'm gonna stop, if you ignore it, or if I need a way to stop you, I have to go get an injunction. So that's the two.
So if I'm really asking this question, but I want to learn. So if somebody that's working on construction and they're supposed to follow stormwater management, and if they do work that shouldn't be, it's going to cause problem, and somebody from city goes by, can they tell them something, say, hey, stop you know? And if they ignore it, then going there or not. Did we do that in that case, for example? Did anybody go say, hey, what you're doing is going to affect the neighbor, stop that? And if they're willing to stop it, then we give it that. I get that. I just want to make sure, are we doing that, or are we waiting until the damage is done, then we're going to that?
I'm going to try and answer your question as best as I can, from what I understand. Obviously we didn't know there was a problem until we got a torrential rain. So I mean, you can't walk out there and just say, oh, this is a problem. This is going to be a problem. It's not one of those type of situations, unfortunately. As far as the stop work order issuing permits, I mean, my personal opinion is they want to pull building permits and they're going to be told no until we can alleviate some of this. And I don't know the full legalities of it, but that is my first inclination, is that we do not issue them building permits and tell them that we will not issue them building permits until this is alleviated. And honestly, I think that lights a very large fire underneath them. Again, some of the timeline issues is, like Daniel said, they had under the subdivision development, a stormwater permit. So they do have a permit for the stormwater. Well, part of us in trying to talk to everyone and say, hey, this is a problem, this is something we need to get fixed, because I was talking to Tim Sorey and Anthony with Sand Creek yesterday. Before the planning meeting, they came to the planning meeting, talked to them at the planning meeting, and they went out there afterwards. Well, the developer has already sold the land, and that permit has transferred to the person that he's bought it from. So now we're trying to get a hold and get in touch with that person. And technically that stormwater permit falls under them, and now it's potentially their problem to fix. So that's where I think the legalese part of it has been difficult.
Yeah, but obviously I accept what you said, 100%. I agree. But I think the person after they bought the land, if they start working on it and building and got a permit from state to start working on it, if they're not following the guideline that we have given them, and it's going to create, and if the engineer or you or Will or me or whoever that's in charge of it, go look. Somebody from the city that insists that, I guess, for lack of better word, if they see there is an issue, my hope is that we would go to them, tell them, hey, there's an issue, stop it. If they ignore you one time, twice, then put a stop order on it if you can, or get with that attorney right away.
That's what we're working on. That's what I feel like we're trying to accomplish. Again, the permit has changed hands, so we started out with the people that we were in contact with before, and they're saying that it's transferred to this. And again, that person is responsible for that SWIP permit. They are responsible for fixing this, and that's where, again, that person is the one that wants to build homes. The developer is not the one building homes. He's developed it and sold it. So to me, a potential way of holding their feet to the fire is saying you're not getting building permits to even dig a footing until we get these issues mitigated.
Well, in a karst area like this, where his development butts up against another subdivision and these other homes, do they not put some kind of barrier down through there? I mean, I see these round things full of.
So they have the silt fence
and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I think those are straw wattles is what you're referring to. And they do have a silt fence barrier. And that's what failed in the two worst spots from what we saw, even today discussing it with the homeowner and stuff. Because the homeowner walked up to his back fence and we were standing there looking at it, and right where he's standing, he's got a big clear path and his silt fence has been down. And again, some of that I think was from them staking the lots for the corner pins. I think whoever went out there to stake the lots went out and trampled down the silt fence. We can't control that. You don't know it happened until you have a problem, unfortunately, because it's just one of those unfortunate timing situations. But those are supposed to be in place as far as those kind of water quality barriers and things like that. And again, with the rain we had, like Erica said earlier, it potentially may have even caused damage to them or pushed them over. But the rest of the silt fence was fine. If you walk up and down that southern border of Brentwood, all of that silt fence was still in place. It all still looked very well. It looked very good, as far as installed. And then there's two areas where one of them, like the silt fence was pushed all the way down here, and there was a stake right there on the Brentwood side. So to me, it looked like someone went out there and was staking the corners for the lots and damaged the silt fence in that one spot. Now, it could have, again, potentially still had some issues. Hopefully, it wouldn't have been to this extent, though, and it would have let the water go somewhere else. We would have potentially maybe had water in the street still, or some of those, but again, at this point, I'm more concerned with keeping it off the residents, adjacent residents. We can get the streets and the ponds cleaned up. I just want it off of the Brentwood residents.
I mean, I think we're talking about a lot of different issues related to this. I mean, there are some things that we need to address before this next big rain. It sounds to me like the people who are going to address that have a plan for it. And none of us are going to go out there and do it. And I don't think we're going to brainstorm, the six of us, a solution to this civil engineering problem in the middle of a voting session. I think that what we do is potentially put this for a work session where we can spend more time talking about it on a night where we don't have 15 votes coming up as well. When we're very likely not going to spitball brainstorm a solution to this tonight, I would just move that we table this discussion for the next work session, let the experts and engineers do their job, and move into our voting.
If y'all have any questions, you can always reach out to me about anything. And if it's not something that I can give the answer to, we'll definitely make sure that we forward it along. So.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone. All I'm asking is just
the other amendment to the follow-ups was the Ridgewood drainage. I got a email about that this morning. I went out there, this morning or late yesterday evening, and I went out there early this morning and I walked it. To a large degree, that one held up pretty well, but it is a ditch and it does have multiple levels to it. There were a few areas where it dips a little heavier or stronger, that it did roll back some of the side that was not rooted as well. And then there's an area down there at the bottom that it actually, where it previously was eroded and you can see brick and rock, it is now again eroded and we can see brick and rock. That will be addressed quickly, and we are going to get someone out there to reside, to add fill, and to complete that again and see what we can do as far as maybe compaction or whatever to make it harder to erode out before the roots can set. But that is something that's being addressed as
Just
well.
put some tile in there or something, because, I'm not an engineer, right? We should take this. But on that one in particular, I get it. This Brentwood Shukin rustic truck, I looked at those videos and pictures. Erica, I'm with you, and Mike. But on this one in Ridgewood specifically, it's a ditch. You can do whatever, and it's just going to run off again.
It is
just
a
seems
ditch,
like a waste. Maybe more permanent solutions, put some tile in or something.
But if you do tile, then you're getting it from multiple directions. There's multiple drainage tiles that drain into that one ditch in different locations. You've got the one that we did the screen over and did the concrete around. You've got the one underneath the entrance to the subdivision. There's multiple tiers to what would be required there, and it would be a significant project on what is not even our property. It's the highway department.
Well, I'll just stop. I just think, you know, if we keep filling it, we're just to keep doing the same thing and get the same problem. I don't know if it makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a glitch.
And I understand that this is a minor piece of the overall project we did earlier, so a significant part of it held up.
Yeah.
There, when you walk it, there's a lot of that ditch that's undamaged. There's a few places where it rolled back the side. That side replacement would be the primary thing it needs, and then pinned down so it doesn't roll up again as easy. And then there is a small area at the bottom that the erosion is that needs addressed. But a lot of it is just side replacement.
Quick question on that one. Who made in that email, I think it was addressed to the whole council, it was a comment about the grade and the debris in the grade. They asked for the grade. Is that our job to clean that out as a city?
The grate?
The grade that's over the
That's up to them.
outlet?
They asked for a grate, we put a grate in.
It was just part of the comment. I just wanted to.
And it flushed pretty well with just the rain.
But that is not our job as a city to do
It's not necessarily our job as a city, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that big a job anyway. Because the leaves, I mean, it was probably close to half full with just loose leaves. And the rain flow that came through there flushed it out where there's very few leaves left in there.
Yeah, I did see that, but I just, moving forward, we're gonna clean that up as a city from now on?
I'm gonna pay attention to it when I drive by, and if it were clogged with limbs and things, I don't want it backing up in the city street.
Perfect.
It is part of our city storm drain.
Okay, I just wanted to get that clarified.
That's the word.
Can't make sense.
Anything further on that? Next item is a resolution to waive competitive bidding and authorize the purchase of the E100 Metro ladder truck. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion by JJ, second by MC. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And that passed. What is our number?
2025-17.
17. Next item is a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute amendment number 2 of the agreement for engineering services with McClellan. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion by, was that you, Mike? No, MC. Okay. Motion by MC. Do I hear, and I got a second from JJ. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That one was approved. That's 17. Next item is a resolution to accept the transfer of title to the 2003 Pierce International Fire Engine. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica and a second by Mike. Do I hear any discussion?
I have a question real quick. Okay. So that ties into the repair bill, right, Chief? We have to accept the title, and so it looks like they've already done all the repairs on the truck.
Yeah, the repairs are complete, we have the truck back. It's just, the Benton County called me the other day, saying if we're ready to accept the title. I said no, not until we get it approved through the council.
So the truck's working fine now?
Yeah, we just had it pump tested this week, we did our hose tested, so, everything's good to
That's
go.
all I need.
Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That was approved. It's number 19. Next item is the resolution to appropriate funds and authorize the repairs to that truck. Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion by MC, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jerry?
That was it.
Oh, that was JJ, I'm sorry. Motion by JJ, second by Jeremy.
Has this already been
It has been fixed, but it's, it wasn't approved on the agenda, it was done on an emergency basis, so we're doing it after the fact.
The bill's not been paid yet,
Yes, it's not been paid yet.
but I've had the truck fixed.
fixed? Repairs done, it's not been paid.
Right.
Okay.
It's
Now I follow.
it's been fixed but not paid for.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, and that one's approved. That's number 20. Next item is the resolution updating the signatories for the street, community building, and community building donation accounts. Do I hear a motion to approve? Got a motion by JJ, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by MC. Discussion?
I have some discussion on that. After visiting with the bank today, we have some concerns on this, and after visiting with legislative audit, I also have some concerns with this, and I would like to address those concerns with the council so they understand what my concerns are and what the bank's concerns and legislative audit. So the bank's concerns are they're separate legal entities that you are combining. The city accounts and the water sewer accounts each have their own employer identification numbers. The separation ensures the city funds remain distinct from those designated for water and sewer services. It enhances transparency and accountability by legally segregating the revenues. So when you take your water and sewer, you give those accounts to the water and sewer, you're not having the segregation that you're supposed to have. And then also, bank's concerns are is positive pay. The city accounts are secured with positive pay technology, which acts as an additional verification measure to catch errors or unauthorized transactions before checks clear. In contrast, the water and sewer accounts lack this extra layer of oversight. So what's happening is, as a city account, we have positive pay. And I'm not sure if the council understands what positive pay is or not. Yes?
You convinced me already. I'd like to move the table this. Again, if the bank's not, if the bank's, I mean, if it's true that the bank is not on board with us doing it, then I at the very least have questions.
Well, I have a whole lot of other concerns. Those are just the bank's concerns, but I have more concerns on myself.
And I have concerns with the way it's done now, and I went with Justin and we talked to the bank, and the bank said it was no problem with us setting up positive pay on these with the other signatories, that positive pay could be done from there on these accounts. And these are concerns that right now we've got a department that if I want to order a sign, and I don't know that our signs are going, I mean, there's a process that it's added steps because the bill goes to a different department than is placing the order. And so the department placing the order can't see that it's paid in a timely manner. There's a whole, it's awkward when you're working from two different departments to get one job done.
I have a question.
No,
The table
that's
is
incorrect.
on the floor. I would like to second that, simply because it seems like it's discussion. If you guys can get a statement from the bank or get the council notes from the bank, I second this motion to table it.
Okay, I got a motion and a second to kick this down the road for a third time. So
If there's concerns, that's.
there aren't.
There are concerns, Mayor. There's concerns with myself as the city treasurer who's responsible for taxpayers' money in these accounts.
And
I have concerns.
There is an ordinance or a resolution here that will resolve you of that responsibility.
No, sir, I'm sorry, but the state says that the city treasurer is responsible for reconciling all city funds, and these three funds are city funds.
We can continue to have contentious meetings into the future as long as we continue this. So I've got a motion and a second to table and continue this argument for months to come. Do I hear a second?
Mayor, I'm sorry, like, I don't know if you need to take a 5 minute or whatever, you need to take a chill pill. Like, you're not, it's like, yes, the meetings are contentious. That's not any one person's fault. I think that we're seeing on display right now that the blame is shared. So I think we can move to the next thing. We table, seconded, we would like to vote, no more commentary by the mayor on whether we should have it.
I have a voice in this meeting,
Yes,
in this
and you're
group as well,
discussing.
and we have taken this to work sessions, and everything is agreeable with everyone. Then we come to this meeting, and we get thrown something new. Then we go to the work session the next month, everything's agreeable, then we come to this meeting, and we're thrown something new. It's only an issue if we keep fighting on it.
The dysfunction in the city government is definitely a repeat problem. Okay?
It is.
And there's drama coming from all directions. It's not the part-time city council that's bringing the drama in. Okay? At this point, I'm saying, I have the city treasurer, the city clerk, telling me the bank is saying something different than you're telling me the bank is saying. I don't know who to trust or who to believe. I don't think either of you are dishonest people. That leaves questions in my mind. It's very fair for me to ask the table, Eric a second,
And
you have a voice.
let's move to the
We
vote.
reflect the will of the people of the city.
Just to help with the confusion, council, when I spoke to the bank today, she is willing to sit down and explain to you all what her discrepancies, what her concerns are. So I would like to get with you all or send you an email so you can contact her directly, because she's willing to.
Could she write a letter to the council?
Of course.
And then you present
I just
that
don't want-
at
I just
the work
don't want to
session?
send a letter
Justin,
to-
can you bring the information that you were presented or talk to the same person? I really feel like us being talked to, like, we have just been, like JJ said, there's a table, there's a second, it should be no further discussion because we're gonna talk about it at a work session. We shouldn't be, I don't feel like I just got split.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. It's tabled. Next item, resolution to amend resolution number 2025-13 in its entirety for clarity of payroll duties. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I think we skipped number 6.
Do what?
I think we skipped number 6.
Oh, number 6? Okay. That's true. Number 6, the resolution to authorize and establish payroll disbursement account. Do I hear a motion to approve? Got a motion by Mike. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Second by Erica. Any discussion? All in favor, say
I
aye.
have discussion. Actually, I would like to say thank you, council, for passing this, because this is what's going to make the transparency from the payroll from the general fund to this account. So thank you for taking that recommendation.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That is item number 21. Next resolution to amend 2025-13 in its entirety in order to clarify the assignment of payroll duties and responsibilities. Do I hear a motion to approve? Got a motion by Erica. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by JJ. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That's approved. 22. Next item, a resolution to adopt and update executive assistant job. Do I hear a motion to approve? Or job description, I'm sorry.
So
Got a motion by JJ. Do I hear a second?
second.
Second by Mark. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That's approved. Item 23. Next item is a resolution to adopt the clerk treasurer job description. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So
Got a motion by JJ. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mark. Any discussion?
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Okay.
I'm also going to review myself on this, and I apologize, I got a little ahead of myself, maybe move there, but I'm going to recuse myself from the final vote.
Okay,
So I move to approve.
okay.
Then Mark can second.
We got a motion by Erica and a second by Mark, so that that's much cleaner. Any discussion?
I have discussion on this one. I emailed Justin and asked him that we had made some changes on this one, and I didn't receive the updates on it. When it comes to section 1, it says that the updated clerk treasurer description as set forth in the attached exhibit A is what it should read.
The updates were made. I thought I laid them on your desk.
No, sir.
We can give you the new
I don't
one.
have the update. And then was it also made on section 2, the council
Section
hereby?
2 is gone.
I'm sorry?
Section 2 is gone.
Section 2 is gone.
Oh, I need the new one.
Does yours show section 2?
I picked up my package last
The new one's out there for you.
Nope, that's Mark.
I said that. Thank you.
I thought you were going to email me the changes.
Some of that didn't come until later.
You'll have to do it because I don't see anything about a section in here.
Right on the front page.
Okay.
Yeah. Front page.
Section 1, section 2.
Section 2 don't exist. It used to.
And on this job description, when we first started talking about this, and I had sat down with the council and I explained to them and I gave them your job duties, and I told you that the city attorney is comparing my job duties with other cities in this area. I'd also like for the council to look at the salary for this position as well. Because if you're going to compare my duties with the other city, you also need to look at the salary amount, because it's definitely a position that is underpaid. And I know you've looked at department heads' positions and you have reevaluated theirs, and I think you need to look at this one as well. Because I gave you guys a spreadsheet with what the other cities were making, and I would like to be at least comparable to what other cities are making for this position.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign, and that did pass.
No, we don't think, that was four, right?
That was 4.
Okay, there's 4 votes, didn't I?
And that was the 4 that aren't recused.
Yeah, there was Mark, Erica, Jeremy,
And Mike, and they did it one at a time.
Yeah, gotcha. So we got the 4.
So that is number 24.
If we want to address that pay issue down the road, would that just be like an amendment to the budget as well?
That's what I was missing, so that we can just get this on the record. And
So can we put that on the work session to
I was
discuss
saying,
in
could you
minutes?
bring to the next work session, could you like bring comp salaries?
I've given it to the council, but I'll be glad to give it to you again. Of course.
Yes, just for a packet, so we're not pulling from old.
Absolutely.
Pull the city council salaries while you're at it.
Okay, I can do that as well.
Okay, next item is ordinance to rezone approximately 40.7 acres. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, place this on third reading by title only?
So,
got a motion by JJ. Do I hear a second? Second by Jeremy. Roll call.
Mark?
Yes.
Erica? Yes. Jeremy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
JJ?
yes.
Can we have an ordinance number?
It's 2025-06.
Ordinance number 2025-06. An ordinance to rezone approximately 40.7 acres of real property located at 8072 East Brown Road, 8074 East Brown Road, and 8078 East Brown Road, from single-family residential R1 to single-family residential R2 in the city of Case Springs, Arkansas.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So,
Got a motion from JJ. Do I hear a second? Or was that MC? That was MC. Okay, motion by MC. Do I hear a second? Second by Mark. Any discussion?
With what's going on in Hillcrest, this is attaching to Hillcrest, correct? And then I had a questions about, I can find what, yeah, but I made my notes though. I thought any development had to have 2 egresses, and this one only has 1. I mean, that's why Hillcrest is coming through Rustic Creek instead of just Ford Road. So that was one of my thoughts on this. And if you look at the map that he gave us, look at all that extremely high vulnerability regarding the karst, the flood. There's no green on that map. And then another question is, under staff comments, it says R2 provides should still be able to meet additional regulations. I don't like that word should in there. I don't know, I just see another mess like we currently have, especially with all of this red, and they're going to smaller lots, correct? David?
Yes, I'm here to represent that project.
Okay, so you're asking for smaller lots with this much extremely high vulnerability when it comes to the floodplain and the karst. I don't see any green on here, so the lowest is a moderate. Council, I really have problems with this, especially doing smaller lots. Those are my thoughts. Take a look at Hillcrest and what it did to Brentwood, and the fact that a lot of that map is red and we're now going to smaller lots.
Yes, the lots are going from 1 acre to approximately 0.6 to 0.75 acres, so it's still, in my opinion, not that dense of a subdivision. It's still some pretty good sized lots.
But when you're looking at this and you see a lot of red, and you're going to 0.6 acre lots, and there's a lot of red and orange.
Right, and we're going to do special measures in the detention pond to protect water quality. Rubber mat underlayment that will keep anything hazardous from getting through there.
I'm not in here.
And follow everything that we're expected to follow. We're happy to do that. And if there's any problems with ingress, egress, we're happy to address all that as well.
I have a question.
Sure.
How many acres is this? Because this says 41.18 plus or minus, and then this ordinance says 40.7.
I would double check that, but I believe 40.7 is the correct acreage on it. But I would have to look at the survey closely.
If it's 41, because this says 40.7.
I actually don't have the survey on me. I would have to check that to give you a precise.
What do you do?
I mean, legal description. You should have a copy of the legal description. I mean, what I have in there is 41.18 plus or minus. I mean, there's discrepancies in there as far as what we have whenever we add different parcels together and put these together. I mean, what Justin has as far as in the ordinance is based on the legal description that was provided by the applicant. So we have them provide a legal description of the boundary, essentially like a boundary survey of the property. So that's where that comes in. As far as the other questions that you asked, I mean, this is just a rezoning, like we've talked about before. The other things aren't in play yet. Access and all those things are something that is hammered out whenever there is an actual plat put in place.
I'm not in favor of smaller lots when the topography more or less in the zones and vulnerability is so high. At least one.
Well, I don't think anybody considers these small lots either. So, I mean, a half inch or a half acre and higher, up to 3/4 acre. I don't think anybody considers that a small lot, as far as comparatively speaking. But
Those, I want to share my thoughts with council, so that's my thoughts also.
yeah.
Sorry, my concern, is it 40.7 or is it 41? Because he said 41, he said 40.
Yeah, well, there's a little play, what we're trying to structure, there's a little play in the descriptions, the rezoning ordinances sometimes we don't have a description, sometimes we go by parcel number, sometimes we go by another classified identification. It doesn't have to be a decent amount of description, it just has to identify the property. And, different between 40.7 and 41.
It's minuscule.
It's approximately,
Yes.
40.7 acres.
And so the 40.7 is taken from the legal description of the asset. Yeah. And that may change, like, if it's filmed, they go further, they might do a boundary survey that changes a little bit, but this is like for our zoning.
I'm good.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Yes, I got it. I just want to know what Daniel thinks about that. And this you feel comfortable with that?
At this point, we've not seen the detailed design, this is a rezone. Yes, and it's the rezone, as far as rezone, it's in the reasonable, but it's, we've not, I don't know. We've got drainage main that has to be adhered to.
Any further?
Yeah, let's see what.
And so,
King said that works.
at this point, we don't have anything to review other than that it's in the forest area. So we have some documentation, drainage maybe being one of them, subdivision ordinances, that we will have to go through and evaluate the project and make a recommendation at that point. So it's hard for me to give guidance at this point.
Actually, that makes sense. And just for clarification, this is just the rezone, right?
Yes.
This doesn't, we're not approving a neighborhood of X number of houses on 7 acre lots right now. It's just a rezone.
And as I spoke in the previous council meeting, the reason for this rezoning is because of the karst regulations. It's because of the third access point that we've asked for them to require in our, what would I call it, preliminary review of their design. So I mean, we have a preliminary design, but we don't have an official one that we've started reviewing yet. And, we've talked about the karst extensively. Well, when they originally asked for this R1 zoning, there was desire to use septic systems. Well, it's in the karst area, they can't use septic systems, so they're having to put it in sewer. Well, they're having to put in sewer. That's a lot of extra infrastructure and work. Well, there's a trail that comes down off of Hillcrest that, we had asked to be extended through there. There was a third connection, potentially for future connection, that we've asked for them to add, that eliminated part of the lot. So they've essentially come back and asked to shrink their lot size a small amount, maybe a quarter acre a lot, to help account for these things that we're looking at in the preliminary review.
I have one more question for Daniel. So Daniel, you think our water code can mitigate like the red in here and the orange, or you don't hold much weight to this? I just wanted your opinion.
No, we do hold weight to that. That is part of the drainage criteria management. So we have to make sure that when you build in those zones, there's several extra steps that you have to take that you would normally have to take in other areas.
Because they are red and orange.
That's true. So we would have to verify that it does in fact meet the ordinance or the drainage ordinance.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, sir.
And we have no problem providing the extra mitigation regarding the stormwater, just so you know. We're happy to do all that.
Thanks, sir.
Anything further? Roll call.
No.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
JJ,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Okay, about one that passes. Next item is an ordinance to adopt regulations for operation and use of public facilities. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on the third and final reading? Got a motion by JJ?
Thank you.
Second by MC. Do I, or roll call?
Jeremy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
JJ, Mark,
Yes.
Meredith.
No. Or yes, sorry, yes.
Okay, that one is, 07. Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 2025-07, City of Cave Springs, Benton County, Arkansas. An ordinance to adopt regulations for the operation and use of public facilities in the City of Cave Springs, Arkansas.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Got a motion by JJ?
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion? All in favor, or roll call? Sorry.
Mike,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
JJ,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Okay,
Mayor, these numbers.
okay, and, do I hear a motion to approve the emergency clause? That did pass. Got a motion by MC. Do I hear a second? Second by Erica. And roll call.
Nancy,
Yes.
JJ,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
and Mike.
Next item is an ordinance to prohibit construction vehicles from using certain portions of streets and roadways where marked. Do I hear a motion to approve? Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules in place on third reading?
Second.
Got a motion by JJ, second by Mike. Roll call.
Nancy,
Yes.
JJ,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Erica, yes, Jeremy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Okay, that's a way.
We'll have that read ordinance number 2025-08, City of Cave Springs, Benton County, Arkansas. Ordinance to prohibit construction vehicles from using certain portions of streets and roadways where marked and declared an emergency for other purposes.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
This is 2018.
He corrected that.
Yeah.
It said 25.
We'll correct that. That was
That's 2018.
And was that a motion by JJ?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay, second. Second by Jeremy. And any discussion?
So this would prevent construction vehicles going through current established neighborhoods to go into another one. I appreciate you
We
getting
will
this
be
on here.
putting signs at the entrances, and it will direct them to the one construction entrance.
That's perfect. I appreciate it. That's great.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
JJ,
Yep.
Mark,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Okay, that passed.
That emergency.
And yes, do I hear a motion to approve the emergency clause?
Second.
Motion by JJ, second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mark,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Jeremy,
yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
JJ.
Yes.
Next item is an ordinance amending number 2018-13 in its entirety and in identifying the requirements and duties of the office of city clerk. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third reading?
So,
A motion by Mark, do I hear a second? Second by Erica. Roll call.
I recuse myself.
Same.
We got two recusals.
Erica,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
yes.
Okay? That one should be 9.
To the ninth, ordinance number 2025-09, City of Cave Springs, Benton County, Arkansas. Ordinance amending ordinance number 2018-3 in its entirety, identifying the duties and requirements of the office of the city clerk treasurer of the city of Cave Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency for other matters pertaining thereto.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mike, do I hear a second? Second by Jeremy. Any discussion? Roll call.
Erica,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
That did pass. And next, do I hear a motion to enact the emergency clause? Got a motion by Mike, do I hear a second?
Okay.
Second by Erica. Roll call.
Mike,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Erica, yes, Jeremy.
Yes.
That did pass. Next item,
Yeah, we don't have that in our folders.
The map law,
Was it changed?
it should be the very last.
Yeah, mine is that
Mayor,
Yes.
also on the new agenda, the organizational chart got left off. So,
You got taken off.
okay, so it was still in my packet, that's why I was asking.
Yeah. Here's one. And I'll share mine. This was in there. Yeah, this is the Otter Creek Lift Station, lightning suppression. And we actually got a very favorable bid from the company that's doing our lift station currently. And that's why it's kind of critical that we do this before they pull out. So I would entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by MC, do I hear a second?
That was Mark.
Oh, okay, yeah, motion by Mark, do I? Second by MC. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That's approved. And it is number 25.
I'm sorry, we can't like hear you guys down here. I didn't even hear MC say anything. I apologize. Not us.
That's all. And the last and final one is, I would entertain a motion to move the council meetings to 6 p.m. and amend the operation regs to reflect that.
So moved.
Got a motion by JJ, do I hear a second? Second by MC, any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Justin, is that gonna work for you?
yes.
Okay.
Don't worry, Mike, I checked.
Okay, any further?
Nobody cares about Daniel?
I was just gonna
If you don't mind, I had to step out on a business
I haven't
call.
voted yet on this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
When you're done.
yeah, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That'll be resolution 26, or just a motion.
I'll bring back an ordinance that change in there, but next meeting will be.
That guy's democracy in action right there.
There you go. The next is, we have a comment from Mike.
I stepped out and listened about the stoplight. It's gonna be done in June.
Later.
No, it will be done toward the end of summer, I said August timeframe, equipment should be here June, July timeframe. Forward. Get what we're talking about.
And Will, could I ask you a couple of questions, please? Sure. 2 weeks ago, I talked to Julie, and she mentioned to you about the holes in the street behind the tire shop.
Okay.
And I was told it'd be done in a week. Has not been done.
Yes. So we had a issue with our asphalt compactor. They would go to start it up and it would run for 2 seconds and then stop. So we rented one for 3 days, and 2 of those days the asphalt plant was down. And so tomorrow we're actually getting a new asphalt compactor, and they're going to be doing it tomorrow.
Okay.
So it was just one thing after another that just delayed it.
The asphalt plant was down in Texas.
Okay. That be on your control. Thank you. Secondly, what about Fields Lane?
We generally talked about it, we were early on, we, moved to get back with the mayor and get that moving forward.
This is actually something else. This is damage from the last rain.
No, I'm talking about that.
Okay, then he was right on target.
Since you'll get back with the mayor?
That's right.
Yes.
Then I have one other thing. We just spent almost $1 million on this building. And there's grass and tree and everything else going along that sidewalk. And I know it's in the highway right away. My yard has a section that's in the highway right away.
We can mow.
Then weed that and pull it all out. That's it. I just don't understand letting it get that way. Especially after spending the money on this, it's supposed to draw people in. Sorry, that's a pet peeve of mine.
I understand.
You were saying something about a phone call.
Yeah, I had a phone call.
Okay.
That's why I didn't get a chance to ask him this.
Okay. Okay. Anything?
Yeah, I have one thing I want to say that I've discussed with the landowner next to the city hall, and they are willing to negotiate now, so if you have time, set a time.
We will do that.
Oh, there's one more thing. Has that tree been taken out?
Not yet.
Have you talked to somebody?
Yes. Anything else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you all.